Hello guys, today me and my friends will make a presentation on our subject, which is the code is DPN20023, Insurance Law, and our lecturer is Madam AINIZA binti SILIM. Now let's go to the team members. First of all, me myself, AQIL bin Azmi. My match number is 08DIN21F1037.
Hi, my name is Muhammad AFIZAL bin Muhammad Zaki, and my matrix number is 08DIN21F1021.
Hi, my name is SOPHIA and my matrix number is 08DIN21F1038.
Done with our presentation, let's move on to our main topic, which is nuisance. Nuisance is divided into two, which is public nuisance and private nuisance. But today, our main topic is private nuisance. Okay, now let's move on to the introduction to private nuisance. A nuisance is when someone interferes with the right of specific person or entity. It will be considered as private nuisance if it is involved the right of specific person or entity. Specific person or entity. Second is a private nuisance is an act affecting some particular individuals or individuals as distinguished from the public at large. Private nuisance law looks to balance the enjoyment of one property owner with the other. Now for the element of private nuisance, I will pass to Sophia.
So now I will explain about 4 elements of the private nuisance. Firstly, in the private nuisance, the injury is caused to the individual, which means it's not involved the public. In this case, the plaintiff is the one who gets the injury. Secondly, it is an infringement of a right of a private person. It is because every person will have their own private rights, so that we must respect each other. If not, you can be sued by someone. Thirdly, here plaintiff must prove interference with his enjoyment of land. For example, if there is private nuisance around you, plaintiff can take the picture, video, or document of his injury or the incidents to prove that the defendant was doing the private nuisance. Other than that, the plaintiff can bring the evidence to the court. Lastly, in the private nuisance, the injured person may bring an action to the court so that the plaintiff can get the compensations for their injury. It is because sometimes the injury that we get might cost some money to pay for the hospital bill or for the losses. So for the private nuisance, it also can be based on the Local Government Acts 1976, Section 80 and 81. So next, I will pass to Muhammad AFIZAL.
Thank you, Sophia. Okay, so for my part, I'll be explaining example of private nuisance. So, shall we? Okay. So here are the 4 examples of private nuisance. One of the pictures is air pollution. As the guys can see here, the guy is doing open burning. So the smoke will be spread into the neighborhood. And the second one is tree branches into neighbor lawn. And the third one is sound pollution. The lady are playing guitar, and at one point she was disturbing her neighborhood. And lastly is excessive light. So based on our research, the example cases that we can relate to private nuisance is Halsey versus ASO Petroleum Co. Ltd. in 1961. Sorry. Okay, so the cases of Halsey versus ASO Petroleum is one of the celebrated cases on nuisance. In this case, the plaintiff complained that his sleep was continuously disturbed by the noise of the defendant vehicles, and that the paintwork on his car, which which was caught in the street was affected by the Aziz smart deposit from the defendant factories. This was held recoverable since he established particular damage because he inconvenienced was greater particular damage. For the next slide, I will pass it to Sophia.
So here is the elements from the situation that we can get. Firstly, the injury was caused to the individual, which is Halsey. Halsey is the individual who get the injury. Next, it is an infringement of the right of a private person, which is Halsey, or the plaintiff has private right to get a good sleep. In these cases, Halsey is the one who did not get good sleep. Thirdly, here plaintiff has proved interference with his enjoyment of land with the evidence from his car who get affected by the acid smoke from the defendant factories. And lastly, the injured person has bring an action into court, which is Halsey sue the SOPHIA company. Next slide. So this is the facts that we get from the example cases, which is firstly the defendant, the creator of the nuisance, SOPHIA company. Then the plaintiff, the one who sued the defendant, which is Halsey, the individual who get the injury. And lastly, the remedies from the private nuisance is damages. Okay, for the next slide, I will pass to AINIZA.
Okay, now since we have come to the end of our presentation, let me conclude our presentation for today. Private nuisance is a civil wrong that is unreasonable, unwarranted, and unlawful uses of one's property in a manner that sufficiently interferes with the enjoyment or use of another individual's property without an actual trespass or physical invasion to the land. It is also can be defined as unlawful interference from any interest to some individual. Plaintiff also must have the right to possess or ownership of the land to private nuisance can be happen. Okay, that's all from us. Thank you so much for lending your time.
Thank you.